All right, so it's a brand new trading week. Today is Monday, the 7th of July, 2025. And that looks like a perfect number, 7/7/2025. Good morning, Madam Monaji. All right, so let's look at what we have fundamentally and also technically for this week. On the fundamentals, as usual, a lot of activities for the week. Though today, Monday, it's a fundamental free. We don't have any fundamental event today. Good morning, Wasiu Shubandi. So tomorrow, Tuesday, the AUD seems to be the key instrument for tomorrow because from 5:30 a.m. in the morning, there'll be cash rates, RBA rate statement, and 6:30 a.m. there'll also be RBA press conference. So tomorrow is for the Australian dollar. And later tomorrow, Tuesday, there will be a news from Canada, and that's the IV PMI from Canada by 3 p.m. So those are the major events for tomorrow. And on Wednesday, there will be official cash rate, RBNZ rate statement from New Zealand by 3 a.m. Local time here in Nigeria. And later on Wednesday, there'll be FOMC meeting minutes. It's actually not the main FOMC, but then we could still see some slight volatility in the market. And on Thursday, there'll be unemployment claims from the United States, and FOMC member Waller will give a speech. Unemployment claims rather, it will come by 1:30 p.m. and the FOMC member Waller's speech will come up by 6:15 p.m. on Thursday, both of them from the United States. And Friday, we have the GDP, that's the gross domestic product, 7 a.m. on Friday from the United Kingdom. And later on Friday, there'll be employment change and unemployment rate from Canada. All right, so these are the major events that we are anticipating in the market this week. And as they unfold, we'll let you know more on how to trade them. Like I said, there's a fundamental event for today. Now, the implication of that is that we may experience some range in the market. Market may range, meaning that there may be no direction per se for a lot of instruments, or then even if there is, it may be very, very slow, or it's possible to just have erratic movement. So in a day like this, I will advise you trade with a lot of caution in the market. All right, so with that being said, I'll flip over now to the chart so that we'll look at our technical outlook for the market for this week. Now, the dollar has been strong in recent times, even though a lot of times in the last week we expected some massive breakout to happen, but then we did see it, possibly that may come up this week. I've held a bullish outlook on the dollar index for quite some time now, and that outlook still remains the same. Now, this is the dollar index on the monthly time frame. I'm admitting more people into the room. All right, so this is the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we can see which is actually reflected on the monthly. I think the monthly will give us a clearer picture first. Now, the monthly time frame, we can see that price has been making a series of lower highs, and we have a touch over there, and also we have a lower low here. Both of them converging at this point, technically giving us a bullish outlook on the dollar. And with that view, if you come down to the weekly time frame, we can clearly see that last week actually closed with a rejection candle at that confluence point. You can see the point of intersection on those two lines. Technically, that means we are looking for a bullish movement of the dollar for this week. So the dollar is technically very, very bullish. So if you take it down to the 4-hour time frame, this is what we have. I have a pattern here that looks a lot like an inverse head and shoulder pattern, where this is the shoulder, the head, the second shoulder, and we'll be looking for a bullish breakout, in the course of the week. So I'm technically very bullish on the dollar. Now, with a technical bullish outlook on the dollar, it means that instruments like USD CHF is expected, to be bullish, and Euro USD on the other hand is expected to be bearish. And this is my look on the USD CHF. This is the USD CHF on the weekly time frame. I think preferably on the monthly too. Let's start from the monthly. On the monthly time frame, we can clearly see that price closed last month on a support level. All right, it closed on that support level We have a support level here. So technically, we have a bullish outlook on the USD CHF, which is in line with what we saw on the dollar index. Again, if we draw our trend line coming downwards here, we still have that same intersection that we had on the dollar index. The same thing is reflected on the USD CHF. So for USD CHF, likewise, I hold a bullish outlook, just like what we saw on the dollar index. And I'll be looking at a pattern like an inverse head and shoulder again, which is still the same thing we saw on the dollar index. So I'm very, very bullish on the USD CHF in the course of this week, and I'll be looking to take a buy trade if price is able to break out clearly above this neckline region. You can see price is testing the trend line at this point. Once we have a breakout with our RSI clearly above 50, currently RSI is at 49. So if RSI breaks out above 50, and price breaks out above the trend line up there, then it will be a time to signal a buy on the USD CHF. So we're very bullish on the USD CHF for this week. And conversely, we are bearish on the Euro USD. We're bearish on the Euro USD. It's still the same setup, so I wouldn't go from the daily to the weekly. Just go straight on 4 hour. We have that trend line forming the neckline region of the of this pattern. We'll be looking for a breakout below here to trigger a sell on the Euro USD. So we're bearish on the Euro USD for this week. Other pairs, so dollar, because of the dollar, we're buying the USD CHF. Once there's a breakout, then we are selling the Euro USD. And the USD CAD, now this will affect the CAD names this week, or the CAD news rather will see to this particular setup on the USD CAD coming out, in line with what our expectation is. All right, so for the USD CAD, we can see that price is trading around a key level, a previous resistance or support right there, on resistance, and price is back at that same level. Now, what is interesting this time around is that price is trying to form what looks a lot like a double bottom pattern around that region, which would technically trigger a bullish movement. This is the daily time frame, weekly time frame for the USD CAD. Let's take it down to the daily. Still the same. We have a double bottom forming, which would trigger a bullish movement on the USD CAD, because of the bullish nature rather of the dollar. So we can take it down to the 4-hour time frame, and this is what we have. We have a falling wedge pattern. In fact, this is already in progress, but it's a swing trade. So, and I'll actually need a further confirmation. Let me check another instrument to confirm. But technically, price seems to be already on the move on this one. RSI is clearly above 50. So we're bullish on the USD CAD for this week. Second place. Now, the next instrument I want to look at is going to be gold. We are bullish on the USD CHF. Now, I would really suggest we trade gold with a lot of caution at this period. If you followed my analysis last week, yeah, I said it that we are looking at the possibility of a bullish movement on gold. because price hit this trend line last week, bounced off the trend line. From here, we saw a bounce, and the price retraced downwards to form, or let's say it's forming, it's still forming, it's not complete. It's forming what looks a lot like an inverse head and shoulder, which may trigger a bullish breakout. But then on the other hand, the dollar is bullish. Now, when the dollar is bullish, gold is expected to be bearish because gold is, negatively correlated to the dollar, meaning, it goes in the opposite direction most of the time to the dollar. So if we're having a bullish outlook on the dollar, it's only in very rare cases with exception that you will also find that gold will be bullish. Same time, the dollar is bullish. And that's why I said a lot of caution should be taken. The only time you should look at buying gold is if price breaks out above this neckline region. So possibly in the course of the week, if the dynamics around the dollar changes and price is able to make its way above this neckline of gold, yes, you may buy gold then. But for now, please just stand down and watch. Stand down and watch. Gold and dollar will not buy at the same time. And the only condition that may also make that happen, as in both of them at the same time, is if there's a very serious geopolitical tension. There's been a quietness in the last couple of weeks around the attack between Israel and Iran, US and Iran. It's been, it looks like it's been brought under control. But peradventure that incident escalates this week, yes, that can push gold to the upside. But for now, we just have to watch and watch until price breaks above this level for us to use the opportunity to trigger a buy on gold. So gold, we're still watching, watching in 3D camera, or is it 4D, whichever one, and let's just watch it and see what happens as the week unfolds. All right, that's going to be all. There's other instruments I have, but market condition is what I'm looking at the moment. I will let you know my view when, as the week finally unfolds. And that's actually on the card pairs, because the card pairs too, they look like both of the USD card is going bullish, or card CHF is probably looking bullish. All these things, when you find it, that's where you need to understand correlation in the market. And that's why I will just be quiet on them for now, pending the time when I can see clarity as to what is happening in the market concerning the card pairs. Though my actual view on the card, on Euro card and card CHF, like I held a bullish outlook on the card CHF before, but now that the USD card is looking bullish, both of them will not be bullish at the same time. So I have to stand down on my card CHF. But the Euro card, on the other hand, now don't forget that all this setup I'm showing you, they're purely swing setup. That's what we're seeing in the market this morning. It's the beginning of the week. What we're seeing is a swing setup, meaning it's a trade. These are trade calls that will span for days. It's not a one day, it's not intraday. They are all swing. We trade only what the market gives. We don't dictate to the market. If we see intraday, definitely that's what we look at. And if what we're seeing is swing, well, that's also what we look at. So for Euro card, this is my outlook on Euro card. I'll ignore you card CHF for now, but for Euro card, this is my outlook. My outlook for Euro card is this. Price hit the resistance. Price has been trading around this resistance level on the weekly, the monthly time frame for quite some time, which indicates the possibility of a reversal. That's a monthly. And on the weekly time frame, we can see that the candle of last week closed on that same resistance level, and we had a minor rejection or a minor bearish candle up there. So if we take it down to the daily and 4 hour on 4 hour time frame, what I'm seeing try to happen here is a formation of a head and shoulder, which may trigger a bearish movement on the Euro card. Yeah, this one, we are having a pattern that looks a lot like what we can work with, So if that's what we're working with, I might just have to maybe stick with the dollar, stick on the USD CHF and the Euro USD, and ignore the USD card, because that seems to be having a different pattern at the moment. while I may stick to the Euro card. So if it's a card pairs, pick one and ignore the second. That's my view on that. Now, for the Euro card, like I said, it's a swing setup. Except if you want to trade it on intraday, then we might be looking at this same head and shoulder that is forming, which may trigger a sell. If it's a swing, you'll be looking to take your entry below the neckline. If it eventually evolves into a head and shoulder, if it evolves into a head and shoulder, which it looks a lot like what I'm seeing at the moment, then the entry will be below the neckline region and will ride the trend downwards. And this can give us, on the average, this can give us as much as about 80 pips. That's 86 actually to Fibonacci. So that should be 61 point, no, that should be Fibonacci 50, about 80 pips to Fibonacci 50. About 120 pips to Fibonacci 7.8, and about 200 pips to Fibonacci 78.6. So for me, I'm actually very bearish on the Euro card, really, really bearish on the Euro card, just waiting for confirmation to trigger a sell. I'm actually doing it on the swing level also. But then if you want to take an early entry as a day trader, that is still possible. And that's because price actually hits the resistance level, on the other side there. So that is giving us a form of influence of this resistance level here. This is a resistance. So that's if this current 4-hour candle closes as a rejection candle in the next time is 7:37. By 10 a.m., if it closes the same way it is, or it drops slightly lower as a rejection bearish candle, that may help the price to fall faster. And if that's the case, you can go to maybe a 15 minutes time frame and look out for possible entry and draw a trend line. Okay, so the candle seems to be dropping. It's not really compulsory. They just use one trend line. So if the candle breaks out below this current level and RSI crosses below 50, with RSI below 50, that will be a time to trigger a sell on the Euro card. So I'm bearish on the Euro card. I think I'll just ignore the USD card for now and focus more on the Euro card. So I'm bearish on the Euro card. I'm bullish on the dollar index, bullish on the USD CHF, bearish on the Euro USD, bearish on the Euro card. For now, I'm neutral on gold until further market confirmations of the direction of gold. All right, so that's my recap for my overall analysis this morning. For emphasis again, I'm bullish on the dollar index. I'm bullish on the USD CHF. I'm bearish on the Euro USD. I'm bearish on the Euro card. And currently, I'm neutral on gold. All right, so that's my analysis for this morning. I'm seeing some requests here. I'll take them while we begin to round up. All right, so Joshua, Aderemilekun, I already gave my view on Euro USD. You can watch the video later because after this class, we drop the link. You can watch it again. USD CHF and gold, I already gave them that also to Joshua Kore. Matthew Olani, US oil. All right, so let's look at US oil. If there's any other person on the platform that needs a specific, you want me to analyze a specific instrument for you, just post it in the comment section. I'll definitely attend to you. All right, so for US oil too will respond a lot to the geopolitical tension, if any happens in the course of the week, because fundamental, most of the time, US oil is moved a lot by fundamental activity. So the fundamentals around it, supports a breakout. Well, we might experience one. But from a technical perspective, this is my view on the US oil. Now, if you had followed our analysis about 3 weeks ago, thereabout, we gave analysis of a massive breakout which happened to the tune of over 900 pips on US oil. See, that's why it's not the best to miss this analysis session. Always make sure you're a part of this analysis. It gives you a guide as to what is expected to happen in the market in the course of the week. So that can just be your cheat code for the week. I'm telling you. I remember some couple of years back when we started this session, one of our students, he joined every morning, and even then we used to have a PDF version of it, which I normally drop. Within a period of a week, this guy actually grew his account to 5x within 1 week, following this setup that we give for the week, trading only what we give. So that's why I always encourage us. Don't just be a part of this analysis alone, because I see people do it. You join this analysis session, but you trade another instrument at the end of the day, and possibly you make a loss. The instruments we're showing you here, they have been carefully analyzed. So the aim is to analyze for you the best instrument with a high level of probability for you to trade for the week and stick with it. Stick with the direction. What we're giving is the direction. And this analysis session is also a kind of a mentorship session because I'm showing you exactly how I trade. So you're getting a whole lot within this period. And not only myself, for every of the session, even from the other analysts at PU Prime, it's more or less like a mentorship session. So hold your hand so they can also trade with a similar pattern and get the same kind of result that we get right here at PU Prime. All right, that being said, so the breakout happened to the tune of 900 pips and price returned to this previous support level. It's still a support level. Price returned to that support level on the daily time frame, and price ranged on this support level for a while before we saw a slight breakout, a retracement, and I believe the next movement should be a continuation, because most of the time after a sharp bearish movement like we saw up there, the next you want to see is could be a retracement, or in some instances could be a reversal. But then let's have some clarity around this. I can also see we have a trend line at this point as a confluence. All right. So you can see here, you can see price also bouncing up. This is the support level, and price is touching the trend line here. So we'll be anticipating a bullish movement, at the next wave of movement around the US oil, purely from a technical angle. And on 4 hour, this is giving us an outlook of an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which might trigger a bullish movement. Now, do you need to wait for the 4 hour? Not exactly. If you can wait for it, perfect. If this completes, then price breaks above the neckline. Yes, we'll see price trigger again into the bullish direction, possibly giving us on the average, about 186 pips to Fibonacci 38.6, about 340 pips to Fibonacci 50, and about 488 to Fibonacci 61.8, and about 700 pips to Fibonacci 7.6. Fine. That's if you have the patience to wait for all that. Otherwise, if you want to trigger an early entry of this, you can come down as low as the 15 minutes time frame. 15 minutes time frame. Now, price is trending up. Price may retest this trend line. You can see we have some lower highs here. Price may retest, retrace, then break out. So it requires some patience, but that's the outlook I'm having on the US oil. Wait for price to hit the trend line, retrace, break out above it, then from there trigger a buy on the US oil. And if you are able to do that as the week evolves, you can capture pips to the tune of about 19 pips here. That's to Fibonacci 50, then about 45 pips there, about Fibonacci 61.8. Now, this is very possible in the course of today. Again, a retest, a retracement, and a breakout. So just watch out for that movement. And if that happens, they will have ended up forming a perfect inverse head and shoulder pattern on this one, which is a very, very high probability bullish breakout pattern. So I'm bullish on the US oil. So that answers the person asking about the US oil analysis. Benedicta is asking about GBP, JPY, DEBI, Euro, AUD, Adiremele is the JPY. So these are the only other instruments I'll attend to. So GVJPY, let's quickly look at that. All right, so price hit a resistance level last week on the weekly time frame, and it looks like we are trying to have a kind of a reversal candlestick pattern here. This region with this green, red, then the third wave should be a bearish candle. Though it's also possible price may retest the resistance before a drop. That's a possibility. So we may have some bull before the bear, but overall we are bearish on the GBP JPY. That's on the weekly time frame, and this is the daily. And let's go down finally to the 4-hour time frame. Okay. Now the 4-hour looks like it's having an inverse head and shoulder, and price truly may go to hit that place, or otherwise if price breaks out below this low, then we will see a bearish movement. So this is what I will see as my view on the GBP JPY. All right, so that becomes a range zone. So if price breaks out above this zone, price will hit the resistance on the upside. Otherwise, if it breaks out below, then we'll see a bearish movement. Though the bearish movement will produce more pips than the bullish movement, but there's none of them you cannot trade. If it breaks out above, you can capture on the average some close to some 70 pips if it breaks out, on the upside. And if it breaks out below, you can also capture some sell. Now, even for the upside, price seems even to be forming an inverse head and shoulder at the moment, which may trigger that upside movement. So on the short term, I think I will even hold on to more of a bullish outlook. Then maybe on the longer term, we might look at the bearish, outlook, because this looks a lot like it's forming an inverse head and shoulder, which may trigger the upside faster. That means I need to also give a clarity on this. Just a second. Now, time is actually running out. I don't know if I can touch all the other instruments, but let's see as it goes. All right. So on the 15 minutes time frame, we might be having the bullish break first of all on this. And this region will become the neckline region. So if price retraces, we need to see retracement first and breaks out above this level, then at least price would target this resistance as a take profit level. So if there's a retracement and a breakout on the GBP JPY, yeah, you can trigger it by and capture your first like 40 pips before any other thing. That is a very, very strongly possible on the GBP JPY. Otherwise, if price breaks out below this low, which is this region here, then we may be having the bearish movement from there on. So breakout both ways is possible, but the upside seems like will come up first before the downside. So I will say on the short term, we're bullish on the GBP JPY. Thank you. You're welcome in Phoenix. And I hope you have an account with PU Prime. If you don't have an account, you can just head up straight to our website, www.puprime.com, and open a live trading account. Did any one of us join the NFP live trade session on Thursday? That was quite massive. At least on the upside, our first trade hit the take. We're close to the take profit anyway, because I remember I asked us to close it. So later on, the second one retraced, but at least we're able to capture some pips, out of that session. And that's how we do it here at PU Prime every single time. when we have our live trading session. CPI is going to come up next week. So if you missed the live trade for NFP, don't worry. Like I always say, there will always be another trade another day. So don't miss the CPI live trading session, which will come on next week. I think Wednesday, thereabout, will surely intimate you about it. All right, I'll take I don't know, 5 minutes to go now. You're welcome, Benedicta. Euro USD, we've analyzed that we're bearish on Euro USD. So I'll just take Euro AUT and USD JPY and we'll be done for today. All right, so this is Euro AUD. Now, price is trading around. Now, if I zoom this out bigger, you see that there is actually a resistance on the daily time frame as price is trading around this area. So that's a resistance point on the daily. All right, and that's where price is at the moment. Price hits that resistance level. So that's how you can see, it looks like most of the Euro pairs are likely going to be bearish. Yeah, it looks like price broke a little bit above it, but this daily time frame, a reversal can still happen. So let's still see. Okay, this is the 1 hour. This is the 15 minutes. All right. So on the 15 minutes time frame, we're having it's trying to form what looks like a head and shoulder. If now this is how you can trade this as a reversal breakout. If price touches, it's not touching this resistance now. If it touches it and bounces off a little to form a shoulder, then we can trade the breakout as price breaks below the neckline region. Because on the daily, price is actually trading around the resistance level. So I will say I'm bearish on the Euro AUD. Don't forget we're bearish on the Euro USD and the Euro CAD likewise. So it looks like there is a bearish movement generally on the Euro pairs. But then don't forget again, price needs to touch the resistance. Now it's now acting like a support, retrace, then break out. Once the new candle opens below that blue line, RSI clearly below 50, that'll be time to trigger itself on the Euro AUD. And that's for that person that's going to go Euro AUD anyway. So we're bearish on the Euro AUD on the 15 minutes time frame. And finally, we'll look at the USD JPY. All right, this is the USD JPY on the weekly time frame. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, price seems to be bouncing off the trend line on the daily. We're seeing some bullish movement. Don't forget, technically we're bullish on the dollar. Dollar index is bullish. So we're seeing that bullish movement on the daily, even on the 4 hour. But to be honest, this is not a very sharp setup. But if you're not on the trade already on USDJPY, I will advise you look more at possibly USDCH. But if you're on a trade and it's a bullish trade, I will say leave it. It's not too sharp, but it's actually forming what looks a lot like an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is in line with the bullish outlook that we have on the dollar index. So price is trading close to the neckline region, and this is the neckline. This is a swing setup. Like I said, most of the setup today they are swing. So this is the neckline region. So if a new candle opens above this level, RSI is already below, above 50. MACD is even above 0. So if a new candle opens above that resistance up there, which is the neckline, yes, you can trigger a buy on the USD JPY. All right, we have some seconds to go. That'll be the end of our analysis today. Make sure you join us by 12:30 p.m. later today for the afternoon
AUD
session.
USD, please.
Sorry, it's too late. I can't, my time is up. The Zoom is going to shut down anywhere from now. All right, take care and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.